Radical Radio. Radical Radio. Radical Radio.
You are now tuned in to Radical Radio. Oh, murder, that's you?
I'm me. I do what I want and I move how I want cause I'm me. And I'm not gonna act like I'm anyone else cause I'm me. The one that impressed you, the one that's the best, that's me. I'm me. I do what I want and I move how I want cause I'm me. And I'm not gonna act like I'm anyone else cause I'm me. The one that impressed you, the one that's the best, that's me. I'm me. Can't associate with no fools. I'm my own version of cool. I'm brave and I'm bold. All that hating is getting old. They know they can't compete. They know they ain't like me. I know that I'm worth it. I know I got a purpose. I'm me. I do what I want and I move how I want cause I'm me. And I'm not gonna act like I'm anyone else cause I'm me. The one that impressed you, the one that's the best, that's me.
You are now tuned in to Radical Radio.
Radical Radio. Radical Radio. Radical Radio. Radical Radio. Radical Radio. I'm my own version of cool. All that hate is getting old. They know they ain't like me. I know that I'm worth it. I know I got a purpose. I'm me.
That's radical. Living unapologetically bold and purposely authentic.
What's good, everybody? What's good? You already know what time it is. It is time for Radical Radio this Monday. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you all so much for rocking with your girl, Coach L of Radical Radio. As you guys know, this is a platform where we bring on guests that are radical, that have a story of transformation, a story of resilience, a story of purpose, a story of water walking. So y'all already know what it is. So I thank you all for joining me this evening. We have a very special guest. I'm very excited to have this queen on here because I actually found her on TikTok. And for those of you that know, I'm just starting to get my handle on TikTok and I, be in TikTok a little bit. But when I found this queen, aka Coach Trey, aka of Slay Bible Ministries is the brand, aka the Save Bay on TikTok. So if you have not started following her due to the promotion, please go ahead on TikTok and go and follow this queen. She is absolutely amazing. We speak the same language, and that's why I'm so excited to have her here. If y'all don't know about TikTok, TikTok has opened up a whole new world for us to see people that, have the same mindset as us, allowing us to see people that, have stories to share, allowing us to really, open up this thing called life. So it is an amazing platform that I absolutely love and adore. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get started. Well, first, y'all, I'm sorry. Please go ahead and follow me on TikTok at Radical Coach L. You can also, you can also go ahead and follow us on Instagram _Radical Radio. We also have my coaching page on Instagram, which is Radical_Life. That's LYFE. If you don't know, now you know. Radical Life is living in your God-given favor every single day, okay? And that's what it's all about. We want to make sure that we're giving God the glory. First and foremost, if you don't know about Radical Radio, you do know that this is a ministry first and foremost, but we definitely love to keep it radical and love to be ourselves, being unapologetically bold and purposely authentic. Okay. So thank you guys again for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and read Coach Trey's bio. I had it up, but now, okay, here we go. Slay Bible Ministries is something God ordained for Coach Trey years ago. She's a wife, mother, daughter, sister, friend, and a mouthpiece for God. She's just finally stepping into her purpose. Her misery, pain, and heartache is her ministry to women. She has a heart for women to heal and be set free. The purpose of her ministry is to prepare women to walk in purpose, y'all already know. See, that's what I'm saying. When I came across the queen, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. It does me nothing. It brings me nothing but joy to see other women identify their purpose first and foremost, activate their purpose secondly, to third, start walking and operating in their purpose. Hey, y'all, it's a process. It's a process. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about healing, faith, and purpose. All right. We're going to get down and we're going to get into it with Coach Trey. So Coach Trey, thank you for joining. I really appreciate you reaching back and giving us the opportunity to share your story on our platform. I appreciate you, Queen, and I thank God for you. I speak abundant blessings over you, your ministry, and your entire family. May God continue to use you in a mighty way. And I just want to say this. I want to start out and I want to share, you know, lately God has really, in 2016, God had told me, this is when I identified my own purpose, right? But God had told me at that time that he was about to raise up those that were not likely to look like they belong in ministry. It wasn't going to look like ministry had always looked. And I had a man of God prophesy to me that I was going to be able to touch people that others could not touch, could not reach. And I want to say this, we are in a season, even from 2016, we are in a season where God is raising those radical men of God up. He is raising up those that were raised in the church, that have come into their own identity, not really being conditioned by the religion, but absolutely learning where their place is with God, building their own personal relationship with God. He is raising up those types of people. So I come here today just to encourage those that are out there. Listen, if God call you, it's easier not to run. I can't tell you not to run because, you know, that's just life and that's just how this thing goes. But what I can say is it doesn't look like what it used to look like. Ministry is totally different in this season. God has taken off the blinders. He has removed us from the buildings. Okay. He needs us to understand that we are the church. The church goes everywhere that you go. So he is raising up a certain standard for certain people. You have to look like a preacher. You don't have to talk like a preacher. You don't gotta walk like a preacher. You ain't gotta be in the pulpit like a preacher. You can be on the side of the street and minister. You can be on a podcast and minister. You can be a school teacher and minister. You understand what I'm saying? So I hope you all understand. Ministry is looking a lot different. We're those outside of the walls to come and really minister the word of God to God's people. So I just want to start there. Do you have anything to add to that, Coach Trey?
Well, I definitely want to piggyback on what you said. I believe that the people who were in church, what we grew up seeing is no longer what we need to reach people anymore. You know, the ministry is really taking place outside of the pulpit. And, you know, I'm not saying that God does not reside in churches. I'm saying that people are speaking through TikTok, through Facebook, through Instagram, through podcasts. That's how they're reaching the masses, because I feel like this generation wants authenticity. They want your testimony. They want you to be real about your story. They don't want you to candy coat it. They want to know, hey, I look like you, so tell me how you got out, because it's not going to cut it anymore with the standard church look, no nose rings, no colored hair. No, people want to be able to relate. In order to listen to you, you have to relate to them. You have to tell them something that's going to ignite a fire inside of them to want to know the God that you serve, right?
Absolutely.
So that's definitely, I think TikTok is the #1 platform for Christians, and that's where I came across a lot of my new Christian TikTok friends on TikTok. So I think that's a great platform to start off with, just teaching people that don't know about Christ. You know, be the church. Like when people come across you, let them see Jesus, not really you. Let them see a form of God, so you know you can kind of introduce them, or at least plant a seed inside them for later on.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And that's alignment, because if you follow a lot of the, prophetic ministries and ministers,
Mm-hmm.
they are aligned in that area, where God is calling and raising up a certain standard of people.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, I followed your TikTok, so I went way back. I was all in your business, sis. I'm like, I gotta
That's
find out
fine.
what's going on. This is what it's for, right?
Please
But I
do.
understand that you endured, like most of us, endured some, traumatic experiences,
Yes, yes,
relationship, things like that.
yes.
So it brought on a particular healing journey for you. Can you
Oh,
share
yeah.
your testimony about how that journey began?
My ministry is really based on helping women heal and walk in purpose. I tend to relate to women that have been in toxic relationships. I grew up in the church. I've been a church kid all my life, but of course, we want to go our own route, our own road, no matter what our parents tell us or what the Bible says or what the pastor says. We still take our own route. But
Yeah.
For 10 years of my life, I stayed in consequences. And why I say consequences, because consequences is a punishment for disobedience.
Gotcha.
And from the age of 18, I left my dad's house. I got married to I got married, got into an abusive relationship with dad, and then got divorced, and then that sort of kept repeating itself. So I was in relationship after relationship for 10 years of my life, and that led to 3 different children with 3 different fathers.
Okay.
And the reason I'm able to say that is because a lot of people want to keep their story silent in fear of what other people think.
Yes.
But God had to show me that that's a tactic of the enemy to not pull somebody else out. So I'm not ashamed of my journey, because I am living proof that God can do it. He can do it if you got 3 baby daddies. He can do it if you were a prostitute. He can do it if you were a drug dealer. He can do it if you've been in prison all your life. Like, when God chooses you, he don't need, he just need a willing vessel. He can choose a donkey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my journey really started. I've been knowing God all my life, but I gave him a yes when I was 29 years old.
Yes.
And it was at the end of a relationship where I thought I was going to marry him. And God started processing me through that relationship and showing me things. And after that relationship, I gave him a yes. That was 2 years ago. And it's like my life took off after that. Of course, he brought me through the healing process, where my healing led to accountability. Accountability led to change, and change led to purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's healing journey may not look the same. He took me through a lot. I had to go through healing, forgiveness. It was so much. The healing process is painful.
Yes.
I don't want people to think it's going to be, no, it's painful, because you got to look in the mirror and be like, I am here because of my choices. Not that God didn't love me, is that I chose something that he didn't want me to do anyway, but he still had grace. And he still said, hey, I'm going to chase you till you can't run no more, because you got to come back anyway.
Yeah.
So the message I do want to tell people is that you don't have to wait till you're a certain type of way to be in God. God wants you at your lowest. God wants you at your best. He just wants you. And I think once people understand that the obedient streets is better than the disobedient streets, that's when they'll start to try to get their life together, because you're not protected in those disobedient streets at all.
Absolutely. That's it right there, y'all. One thing that you said that really resonates with me, I always say healing hurts, but it is necessary.
Necessary, yes.
And as this queen just stated, your healing journey may be different. Some people have to endure homelessness. Some people have to endure a lot of different circumstances in that journey for God to prepare them for where he is about to take them. And let me say this, y'all. Purpose definitely makes the world go round. Purpose means that is the original intent and the original plan that God had for you originally. So Jeremiah 29:11 states that, for I know the plans that I have for you, to give you a hope in a future, plans to prosper you, plans not to harm you.
Yes.
Oftentimes, and we're going to get into this, oftentimes when we're in a certain situation, or when we feel like we want to do things on our own, we go left when we should stay right. And then we have to deal with the circumstances of us making the choice to go left. So with that being said, you grew up in church. We're very alike in that way. I heard, if y'all notice on the promo, I shared her video where she said she was going to church, and she was in church Monday through Saturday, and she
Monday
was in
through
church
Sunday.
Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
And for me, I grew up in church. Sometimes we there Monday through Thursday, and then sometimes we there 3 times on Sunday. So we just in church all the time. When did you realize, even though you had grown up in church, that maybe something was missing?
I realized something was missing maybe in my second heartbreak. See, that's how God got my attention, through heartbreaks. I knew that something just wasn't right. And no disrespect to parents, because parents can only teach you what they know.
Yes.
But it's a lot of things in the type of church setting we were in the Baptist setting, that I didn't learn about. I didn't learn about soul ties.
Yes.
I didn't understand warfare. I didn't understand why things were happening to me that couldn't be explained. So it kind of like turned the light bulb on a little bit, but not all the way. See, I knew a little bit, but I just kept continuing on in what I was used to, what was toxic. So God did turn the light bulb on, and I'm not saying he didn't send people to say, hey, I've been chasing you for a minute, slow down. Right. I had to see for myself. So the light bulb really comes on when you realize that you don't want the life your parents had, or you don't want, because of course they're in church and you looking at them and you like, man, it's not lining up. Like, we supposed to be this and that. We supposed to be blessed. We're not supposed to have poverty mindset. Like, when the light bulb comes on, you feel like, what have I been doing? Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And I try to not blame the church, but I feel like back then it was all prosperity gospel. It was all, it wasn't what we needed. Soul ties, choosing the right husband, choosing the right spouse, how to prepare yourself as a woman to be a wife, how to heal. Nobody taught us that. Right. And then you got a bunch of independent women in church, not married, because what we didn't know and what they didn't teach us. Absolutely. So that's what turned the light bulb on for me. That's good. That's really good. And like, listen, it's not that we didn't learn in church. Growing up in church, we did learn the basics. What I will say is, and you can tell me if you agree, it kind of was like very, very, very firm on either you're good or you're bad. Either you're doing right or you're doing wrong. Yeah. And that was just pretty much it. So you married or you're not. You married or not, and you drink or you don't. It wasn't any, like, the grace wasn't there. We didn't know about the grace. We didn't know about purpose. Like, that's one of mine. Like, I never, ever, ever heard the word purpose when I was growing up. Me either. Or generational curses. I never heard it. And this is when I knew that I hadn't, because I had to check myself, like, okay, because you don't want to, when you grow up in church, you don't want to be the one to say that they did something wrong. We're not saying, let me clarify that. We're not saying that they did anything wrnong. What we're saying is they taught us what they knew to teach us at that time. Yeah. But this is when I found out that I didn't ever hear purpose. When I asked my grandmother what her purpose was, and she told me she didn't know. Not the first lady. Not the first lady. Like, and this is what set the tone for me to understand, like you said, when that light bulb came on, that there was some key important things that had slipped through the cracks that we need those things. Yeah. And growing up in church, you kind of made a statement that you just kind of left your father's home, and what led to that? What was going through your mind when you was like, okay, I'm gonna go now? Honestly, if you were a church kid, your parents were extra strict. My dad was a deacon in the church. Like, I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't go nowhere. So I think that led. I'm not blaming my father at all, because our parents do the best they can. I left because I wanted freedom, and freedom. And that me wanting freedom is almost like the enemy intertwined me into a relationship that was not God ordained, into a marriage that was not God ordained, just for me to get freedom, only to be in bondage. Yeah. In bondage, something I had no idea about. Right. So that was kind of the trick of the enemy, because I'm young, I'm green. I'm coming out of church. I just know the basics. So I'm thinking, I'm just going to get married just to get away from my parents. They're too strict. When really, I was just walking into the trap of the enemy. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Coach, what would you say to parents right now that are raising children? How could they handle that different? What advice would you give, or what would you think could be different for parents that our parents may not have understood?
Well, I have a 15-year-old going on 16, and my advice to parents would be, number one, talk to your kids about your past. Be honest, because in your kids' eyes, you're perfect and you don't have no issues, or you hide them really well. They need to know what type of generational curses you come from. They need to know what you struggled with back then, because whatever you struggle with and keep hidden, it will fall on your children. Yeah. If you had a drinking habit, it's going to fall on your children. If you had a porn addiction and you didn't deal with it or break the court with it, it's going to fall on your children. You know, if you were molested, anything that you go through that you try to hide and you don't get free from, because, you know, we're known, Black folks are known to sweep stuff under the rug. Yeah. If you don't go heal, get therapy, and then try to have those conversations with your kids so they can know what to look out for, that can save years of consequences, years of going learn it yourself. So I try to be as transparent with my child as possible. I try to be as transparent, like, hey, I'm not perfect. You know, I may go off on you, but I still love you. You know, I'm starting to tell her, everybody that tell you pretty, that don't mean that you owe them anything. Or just when it comes to boys, you know, we try to give our kids everything that they ask for, so they won't think they have to go do something for it when they're 18. Yeah. Because of the withholding of my parents from me, I thought whoever waves the money in my face, they love me. And that wasn't the case. You see, where conversations need to be had. Yeah. So I would tell parents, be real with your children. You know, try not to fuss at them because they're going through just like us. Like they go through things too. Believe it or not, just because they're kids and they don't have bills and all the burden of the world on them, they still go through things. Make yourself accessible for your kids to talk to you, because kids are dealing with suicide spirits. Yes. Kids are dealing with, like, they don't know if they like boys, they like girls. Like, get a safe space. And if they can't talk to you, at least I have friends that my daughter can go to and be comfortable enough just to talk to you, because that's why a lot of parents are finding their kids suicidal, turning to drugs, don't know whether they want to be a boy or girl, because they're not able to go to you for all the feelings that's going on inside of them. So I think a lot of generational curses can be broken by conversation. Absolutely. And transparency. Yeah.
And I believe having those conversations, like you said, about generational curses, like I remember having a full-blown conversation with my boys. I have 3 boys, and I had the conversation with them like, yo, your mom and your dad, we conceived our first child at 17. So in order for that generational curse to be broken, that means that you guys have to go above and beyond the age of 17 without having any children. And just having that conversation with them, by the grace of God, I don't have any, you know, grandchildren with my children, you know, and when I celebrated that, you know what I'm saying? I celebrated with them, you know, when all of them reached 18, you know, I let them know, like, yo, that was a curse that we broke. You broke that generational curse. So, you know, every time that I think that we're getting close to breaking a curse, like I believe that it's important for you to acknowledge it and celebrate that. You know, give God some praise for that. Praise God because you did break that generational curse, because once you break one, you'll continue to want to break more. And that's what we need to do. So that's good. That's good stuff. So with healing, with your healing journey, as you went through your healing journey, would you say that your faith was intact? Because, you know, the word declares we only need faith the size of a mustard seed. So would you say that your faith was intact and activated, or did you have to do some things to get to that place?
God had to bring me through some faith trials to get there. I didn't have a lot of faith when I got hurt a lot in relationships. It actually brought like a weightness over me, so I'm like, man, God must not love me. He let all these people hurt me, and that wasn't the case. God built my faith through the Word. I worship. I cried every day. Like, I would come home every day. I would worship, do worship music on for an hour. I would pray. I started going on fast last year. I was like, I got a hunger for God, where I was like, I need you to heal me. And my faith, my first big faith move was the faith move from Louisiana to Georgia, where God showed me his hand, where God showed me, like, you don't even need the money. I got you. Just do what I need you to do. So now I'm still increasing my faith journey, but now I know that he's able, because sometimes God got to show his children like me that, hey, I'm able. Don't limit to me to your thinking. Don't limit me to your ways. Like, I can do whatever. I just need you to be obedient and listen.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think a lot of people don't really have as much faith because they gotta see it. They think like, if I don't see the money, I can't do it. If I don't see it's working out, I can't do it. But it's not even with your physical eyes, in your spiritual eyes. You gotta believe it. Just a mustard seed. That's all it takes. You know, that's it.
That's good. Thank you for joining us, Jennifer Jones. I appreciate you, Queen. Welcome. Now let's talk about that, because you just hit something. And I know a lot of people endure these things. You were originally from Louisiana?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about how, you know, when Jesus was in his hometown and he was just simply a carpenter. That's all he was. Like, they didn't want to give him no props. They didn't want to, you know, he wasn't doing nothing. He was simply just a carpenter. So a lot of times when we are in our hometown and, you know, we have the weight of our upbringing and what, you know, things we endured during our upbringing, what happened? What did that look like? What was, and I want you to kind of go into depth for the people of, you know, how you heard from God and how God was able to prepare you to make the transition.
Okay, well, the first thing I'm going to say is make sure you have some type of mentor in your life, whether it's a spiritual mother, spiritual father, counselor, therapist, that's Christian based. I'm surrounded by a lot of great friends, prophets, ministers, evangelists, pastors, ministers, right? So I had a spiritual mentor at the time, and I love her to death. She's out of Chicago. And, you know, she walked me through, it's almost like God sent her back into my life to walk me through the process. And, you know, she had gave me, moving to Georgia was a 10-year-old prophecy, right? I got this prophecy when I was 22, 23. I'm 35 now.
Stop. Did you back up? Say it again. One more time. How many years?
This was a 10-year, I was 22, 23, and I'm 35 now. So that was a prophecy given a long time ago. But because I didn't get in position for God to take me, my disobedience prolonged it.
Yeah.
Okay. So God sent her back into my life. She was like, you know, because I was asking God, you know, what I need to do. I just can't. I can't go past the level I'm at here in my hometown. I just can't. They don't receive me, you know, and everybody not gonna receive you. So she God sent her back in my life, and she was like, you know, God said move to Atlanta. And I was like, you know, I went to God and I was like, this is what you want me to do? Because you've been telling me this years ago, I ain't go. And, you know, she called me back the next day. I went back in prayer about it. She said, God said, don't ask him again. I said, okay. So, you know, I dragged my feet a little. About 6 months, I was starting to prepare through the process. But of course, you know, the enemy threw stuff in my way. I told my family, they talked me out of it. They didn't support me. Like, the enemy was throwing all types of stuff. You know, I told my child's father, I'm leaving. I'm in court now for that. So it's just like the enemy did everything he can possibly do, but I still stayed in obedience. And because I stayed in obedience, God made provision for me to leave. And I just want to throw in that sometimes you cannot prosper in a familiar place.
Come on. Sometimes
God has to take you away from your kindred to put you somewhere where strangers will support you, just to up your confidence to know that nothing wrong with you. It was the place that you were in. It was the principalities in that region that held you from being purposeful, right?
Absolutely.
So I don't want people to think that, oh, nobody supports me. It's not that nobody supports you. That's not your tribe. That's not your people. They know you're great. They just don't want you to know that you know you're great. And just because the likes and stuff don't matter because they're watching you. Trust me. They're watching you. So, you know, when God took me from Louisiana, it's almost like I started moving in ministry-wise. If I was still in Louisiana, I wouldn't even be sitting here with you. It's almost like me moving shifted something. The principalities. Louisiana is full of witchcraft. I just want to say that it's full of witchcraft. It's full of a lot of. It was a lot I had to get through to leave there. Like, it's like the enemy did not want me to leave. But long story short, I listened to God. I looked for a job, got a job 1 month before I moved from home. I told God what I wanted. Let me just back it up. I wrote down on the list what I wanted. I want to work from home.
Vision, make it plain.
Make it plain.
Yes.
I wrote where I wanted to live at. I wrote what type of job I want. I want to work from home. God made a way for it all to happen. My last check I got from 911, I needed to put down on the house. My check was exactly the amount I needed, $2,700.
Wow.
Got my place, right? Moving in obedience. I didn't have no money left after that. I didn't know how I was going to turn the lights on over here. I didn't know how I was going to turn the water on. the cable, nothing. I said, God, well, I listen to you. Now, you know me. I like to keep money. I said, but I told you, I'm doing what you told me to do. Before I left Louisiana, I had double what my check was, please.
Come on.
People just, all of a sudden, friends start to, here's 500, here's 1,000, my brother, here's 1,000. Like, people were just sending me money. And I'm just like, God, like.
And they sold into this ministry right here. They were sold.
Yes. They don't even know. Like, and I didn't ask nobody. Like, they just did it. So just listen.
And that's encouragement, for those of you that are on here. I wanted her to explain and go through that process, because number one, a lot of us get stuck in fear, and I understand it. I've been in a place of fear and I've been disobedient. But one thing that Coach just said, she prolonged the prophecy that she was given 10 years before. So understand, when we do not move in obedience, we take a detour. It detours us. And just like they were walking around that mountain for 40 years, do not slip up and get caught in a detour for 40 years for something that God had for you, 60 years ago. Because it's real like that, So when I put a post up today, and I just, said, hey, obedience is better than sacrifice. Hey, yeah, that's the post.
Now, that's what my parents said for years, and I didn't understand that.
That's the post, and that's the status, and that's it. And be well, because it takes for you to hear from God, and you gave some nuggets there, and I don't want to skim over those nuggets. Number one, have a mentor, have somebody in your life that can pray and touch and agree with you, whether it be a spiritual person, a spiritual mother or father. And I'm gonna say this to the people that are listening. If you desire to have a spiritual mother or father, pray and ask God to send you your spiritual mother and father, because I make sure without a shadow of a doubt that I prayed that specific prayer, and he gave me exactly who I needed in my life. The people that could understand me, the people that could talk to me, the people that I could confide in, that I could trust. Another thing I want to encourage you all to make sure that you ask for divine connections. Y'all that know, ask God to send you divine connections. Otherwise, you'll be getting a lot of prophet line, a lot of stuff that you don't really want. And
you don't need it. At that point,
we want God's divine connections coming our way, y'all. It's real out here, so y'all got to understand. The word does declare, whatever you shall ask, it will be yours. God will provide it to you. So the key thing is just making sure that before anything, you seek God in all that you do. Everything, y'all. Everything. So, okay. So you were operating in the faith of the size of a mustard seed.
Yes.
And this is what God has decided to do for you in your obedience, to move you and to show you and really give you those signs, miracles, and wonders that you needed to move in faith and activate your faith. So let's now talk about your purpose. When did you identify your purpose?
Well, honestly, I knew my purpose for a while. Of course, I was in College Church, been in College Church for years now. Prophecy, I was called to women. I got this prophecy 5 years ago. About 6 years ago, I'm called to women in business and ministry. But see, God will only release a little bit to you that you're ready for and that you can handle, right? So at first, I got the prophecy of business. And, I created an app. Slay Bible was originally an app. I told people this all the time. It was originally an app for Black women to support Black businesses, right? And
no shade to Sprinkle of Jesus, but it was popping, okay? She was pushing her app, okay?
And that's who created it for me.
Really?
They ended up creating it for me. And then I don't know. I stopped the app, and then I switched to social media marketing. And then and during my move, I just kind of dropped it. It's almost like because I wasn't moving fast enough, God started to drive my resources up to show me you better leave or it's not going to happen. So when I picked it back up, I don't know, I had been praying and fasting the end of last year. And, by the 31st, God was like, I'm releasing you to do ministry.
Come on now.
I'm like, what? But I had already started. I was just started, but I had already started. I tell people all the time, my TikTok started out as a business. TikTok, and I had 300 followers. And one day I'm rolling from 911, you know, thinking about the calls I went through, and I just heard God say, you need to get on there and tell people how to know when you're healed. And after I did that video, I went from 300 followers overnight to 22,000 overnight.
Yes.
And that was I feel like that's funny, because that was the way of God showing me your calling is to women, because I had inboxes out of this world, and I was like, I didn't even know that this what I created for original. Like it just blew up after that, and then God started to pour things into me to talk to women about, and it just really became a motivational ministry page, and that's
it. That's all he wrote, y'all. Thank you for joining us, Angela. I appreciate you, Queen. She says she needed this conversation, and you know, I saw the shift, because I'm telling you, I went through your whole TikTok, and it just was amazing to me. And I was like, Lord, thank you so much. And I just started praising God for you when I saw the shift, because I had done a blog like that before, where I was just like, oh, I'm just a female talking about stuff I done been through. And then it shifted, and it became a whole ministry. And I said, God is hilarious. Like, you think you just doing this, but he be like, no, you gonna do it this way. You know, when I was going through the TikTok, and I saw that, you know, you had the business page, and you were just talking about business, and you had merchandise and things like that, and I saw the shift, and I was just like, Lord, there you go, right there go that shift. And you know, listen, just the thing is, you know, use her testimony, use her story to understand. We have many things that we would want to do on our own, but God, again, has his own plan, which is identified as your purpose. She's a coach for women. I'm a coach for women. God needs many coaches for women. It's a lot of women out here, and all women don't endure the same facets, y'all.
They don't.
And you have to understand, it's so cliche to say, but what God has for you, it is for you. Absolutely. He doesn't care how many ministries of the same ministry are going forth. If he calls you to it, he will bring you through it, and he will make sure that he gives you the provision for it. So never get caught up in that, oh, she's doing the same thing that I'm doing. Don't.
That's the enemy.
The enemy. It's a trick. He is the master of deception, the master of trick. Just understand, if God said it, go ahead and do it. Obedience will be the key thing. As long as you're obedient, God will make sure that he will make a way for you. So just make sure that you use this testimony. And this is why I'm telling y'all don't even understand. I was so lit. Like, I can't wait to get her on here, because I told my producer, I said, I'm gonna find the people on TikTok. And I said, everybody don't respond to me. But when she responded, I was so overjoyed, and I was so excited, because I feel like these are conversations that, you know, women need. These are the conversations that can light those fires, the fire that you have burning on the inside of you, that boldness that you need. Like, this is Coach Trey. She's going to be the one that's sharing her story, that's going to be able to ignite that fire where you can take off. And it doesn't take anything but a willing heart. As long as you got a heart to serve God, he will make sure. He will make sure. I promise you. So with that being said, where are you right now with the TikTok? Like, what do you have coming up? What different things are you looking to do with your ministry?
I just want to add that, because, you know, during my faith season, God sent my husband to my kingdom.
No, we gonna go there. Don't worry. You know we gotta talk about that.
Now, I have a 2-day boot camp on March 18th and 19th, next Friday and Saturday, coming up, called Rise Up. The purpose is for women that are ready to prepare themselves for their kingdom spouse. And the gag is, it's not really about him. It's about you. It's about mindset shift. It's about, you know, you cannot be praying for God to see your spouse and you're not even prepared. Like, how is your mouth? Like, do you fast? Do you pray? Can you cover your husband in prayer? Like, can you, you know, pull on him, get some stuff out of him? Can you push him to his kingdom purpose? Yes. You know, so I decided, because I have so many women in my inbox about it, so I'm just gonna do it, because my husband literally came in my life overnight. Like, God literally was like, here it is. Like, you did what I needed you to do, so here's your reward. Like, you got your kingdom spouse. So that's what I have coming up. And just outside of church, me and my husband will be on YouTube on Wednesday as well with a message.
Awesome. So Slay Bible Ministries is also on YouTube, you all. So that's Wednesdays at what time?
It varies about 7 to 8.
Y'all make sure y'all go to Slay Bible Ministries, hit the bell for the notifications so y'all can be notified when they go live on YouTube. So let's get into that, because you did also do a TikTok about, how you found your husband and things. Well, how your husband found you. I'm sorry.
Me. Yes.
Get that right. You already know what to do. How your husband found you. Share your testimony on your journey.
Well, just a snippet of my journey. Around July of last year, July 24th, me and my husband met in person. I found him. Well, he found me on Upward dating app, and I was just playing on the app one day.
I was wondering about Upward. Y'all better get on Upward
dating app. Yes, and my coworker was like, "Tremayne, you're so pretty. Like, you're not gonna give us on love." I was like, "Girl, I'm done." And they were like, "No, just download the app." I downloaded the app. I was on there for about a couple of weeks. I ignored a bunch of people. I seen my husband's picture. I scrolled through his picture, seeing that he had a mic. I was like, man, he a minister. God, I tell you, I'm a minister. But I still hearted with him, connected with him. He inboxed me. We were playing tag really. One day he just said, hey, I told him, I don't get on here much. He was like, well, let me just change it. Here's my number. So he calls me, I don't answer. And then he calls me later that night, and our first conversation was about worship, about God, about, it wasn't about our favorite color or what you like to eat. It was just down to business. He was like, this is what it is. And I was like, this is what it is.
Ain't playing no games.
Yeah, and week into dating, he revealed, he was like, Holy Ghost said that you're my wife. And I was like, and I had to confirm. And then, I talked to God about it, and I got a phone call saying, God told me to tell you that's your husband. And I'm like, oh.
Wow.
So that's kind of how it went. For less than 6 months, and we were married.
Listen, so y'all already know that's a story right there. So I know it's a book coming. It's definitely something coming. So yes. That is amazing though. But again, it just goes back to, just hearing from God, knowing when to be obedient, knowing what to do when you seek God. This journey is not for the weak. Like, I say it often, like, being a Christian was one of the most, I'm talking about a real, it's one of the hardest jobs that I ever had in my life. Such a rewarding job. That's why I say all the time, I be like, I work for Jesus LLC, because you never know. You never know what's about to happen, okay? You don't know which way you're going until you seek God and you allow him to order your steps. It's real out here.
It is.
It's real out here. But listen, this walk is the most amazing walk. And Coach Trey, I want you to tell them, like, just how you feel about your journey and how you feel about everything that you endured to bring you to this point that you're at. Like, how do you feel?
I feel great. I would not, out of all the heartache, all the pain, everything I went through since childhood, I would not change a thing, because God really, really does give you double for your trouble. People don't just say that. It's real. Like, God really rewards you for your obedience. And then you get to a place of maturity to where you understand that I had to go through this to get my faith here. I had to go through this to get my character fixed. I had to go through this so I can be in integrity. So I wouldn't have a heart of compromise. So I wouldn't, choose something over God, because when you know that you're mature in Christ is when you have options to not choose God, but you still choose God anyway.
Oh, yes, that's good.
I wouldn't change it for the world. And the road, it's not going to be easy. Let's just be real. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. I promise you, because God will not start a good work in you without rewarding you in the end. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. Thank you for that. Now, I know that when you endured your healing process, I want to just kind of go back to that, just for women out there. A lot of women are going through, relationship issues or, problems with children and things like that. What encouragement can you give women as far as getting to that place when they get sick and tired of being sick and tired?
Yeah, well, only you can get sick and tired. You can say, I call them dangerous prayers. You can get in your prayer closet and you can say, God, remove my enemies and anybody that is not like you, and anybody that doesn't belong in my life, and anybody that I'm connected to that is not putting me in a better place, or somebody that you have for me, even the man I'm talking to, please remove them. Now be prepared for that prayer. Be prepared for God to reveal things you never would have thought. Be prepared to hear conversations you didn't think you was going to hear. Be prepared for friends to turn on you. Ask me how I know. But that's okay. It's okay. You have to get to a place to where you're strong enough to say, God, yeah, it's hurt that they leaving me. Yeah, it's hurt that you expose it, but I still trust you. I still believe that you're going to send me the right people. I still believe you're going to send my kingdom spouse. I still believe you because you're still good, regardless of how bad it's going for me now. You literally have to choose God. Yeah. You can't put no man before God. And 9 times out of 10, if God removed those friends, you already seen red flags. If God removed that man, you already seen red flags. You would just even wonder to them.
Yeah.
So when you ready, when you sick and tired, when I was sick and tired, I was like, I can't take no more. I'm sorry. Take me back, Jesus.
Yeah.
So when you get to that point, just stay encouraged, stay in worship, stay prayerful. Don't talk to people that take all your energy. Like, don't talk to people that drain you. Stop saving people. Save you. Be selfish this season. Work on you. Just you and God. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That's how I motivate people.
That's it right there, y'all. And, this is just, in this season, I'm saying, listen, you cannot pour into those that cannot pour back into you. It is time out for pouring and leaving yourself in a drained state. God cannot do anything with us if we are drained. It's no different than God cannot do anything for us, through us, in us, or anything if we got clutter. If you are cluttered and you got all this mess around you, he's not going to be able to work through you and in you in the way that he desires to. You're going to have to remove some of the clutter. You're going to have to get yourself to a space where you declutter and you remove some, or he removes some things. And I love what you said. That is a dangerous prayer. Y'all already know Coach Eldon shared her testimony. I asked, he started showing me stuff and I'm like, Lord, stop. Yeah. You ain't got to show me. Like, okay, I got you. But at the end of the day, I, was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And once, you ask your daddy for something, and he's a very loving God and he's an unconditional loving God to you. And he's just like your earthly father. He loves us and he don't like to see his daughters crying. He don't like to see his daughters hurt. He don't like to see his daughters being taken advantage of.
Exactly.
In this season, in this day and age, all we see is toxic.
And it's
time out for that. God did not call for us to be in toxic, miserable relationships, friendships, any type of ship. I'm talking mama, daddy, sister, brother, cousin, whoever. God did not bring you into this world to fulfill the plan that he has for you to be in toxic environments and relationships. Real talk. So we got to get to that place, y'all, where we get sick and tired of being sick and tired of going through these toxic situations. And you have women out here like Coach Trey and myself. We have endured. We have been through it. So that's why it's important that once you go through that process to share. Do not allow the enemy to muzzle you. Do not allow the enemy to muzzle you, because that's his job. And that's what he wants to do. Because see, all he does, like my pastor said it yesterday, clear as day. He doesn't want our stuff. Okay. He don't need to worry about our stuff. He wants to get your mind. If he can get your mind,
he got everything. Everything will follow.
If he got your mind, he got you. So we have to get in that place where we understand, the enemy, the word declares, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. That's as real and downright as it could be. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. So anything that the enemy is trying to throw at you, it will not prosper. It won't. But we have a job to do as well. Stop letting the enemy get in your head. Stop letting the enemy tell you lies. Stop letting him deceive you. Because that's his job. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's his job. He's going to do his job. But I'm going to leave you guys with this. Understand and never forget. And I know y'all know this. The enemy can't come for us unless God say yes.
Yep.
That's it.
He can't touch us unless
if your daddy say he trusts you enough to allow the enemy to come for you Hey, I need you to be radical. I need you to be bold, and I need you to slay and let them know, no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Period.
So I want you guys to make sure, please make sure that you go to YouTube and that you subscribe to Slay Bible Ministries. Go to TikTok and follow Coach Trey at The Saved Bay. And also on Instagram, she is Slay Bible Ministries. I tell y'all, this is a powerhouse. Don't get left behind, because when she on TV and all that stuff and she's slaying, don't be talking about some. She was on, she was. I said follow her in, so y'all go ahead and do it now, because this is a powerhouse. She is on fire for God. She is radical for Jesus, and it is the most amazing thing for me to see. Queen, I love you with all my heart.
I love you too. I love you back.
And I thank you for blessing us with your wisdom and those nuggets. And I hope to connect with you soon. If I got to take a ride to Augusta, I sure will.
That's fine me. I'll drive. Like, I'm always in the house. I will drive to you.
Absolutely. We're going to connect, and I appreciate you again. Please make sure that you follow Coach Trey on all platforms. As always, I love you guys. Be you, be free, and always stay radical.
Yes. Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey dreamers, my name is Maxi, owner of Elnor Maxwell. We're a company that specializes in show production, virtual assistants, and more. Recently, I have published 2 books. My first book, All My Broken Crayons Still Color, is a daily affirmation book and a journal. My second book, Love You More, Grieving Isn't Easy and Healing Hurts, is a book about the 5 stages of grief and how you can start your process of healing from grief. Both of my books are now available on Amazon. So, let's be motivated, let's be encouraged, let's start the process of healing, and let's continue to glow through whatever it is we're going through.
Yes, y'all make sure y'all go shop with Maxi, aka the super producer of Radical Radio. If you are looking to start a podcast, if you need help with your business, your small business, she does administrative work for small businesses. Elnor Maxwell, you can find her on Instagram as well as find her on Facebook. Maxi Norman, Maxie. Norman, Norman. Please make sure that you go to Amazon and cop those books, because they are worth having. Do you understand me? They are worth having. She out here doing interviews. She out here doing promos, and she doing a thing, y'all. So I need for y'all to, link up with her. If y'all have a platform and y'all need people to come on as guests, hit her up, because she is definitely doing interviews right now, and she is moving and shaking and grooving. I am so extremely proud of her and everybody connected to me. Angela, thank you so much for doing what you do in the town and in the community. I don't know how many people have told you, but I am extremely proud of you. I love you so much. Jennifer, thank you for joining us this evening. I appreciate you for joining us, Queen. Let's stay in touch. I'm going to go ahead and just let you guys go this evening, but just know that we will be back next Monday, and we will be back next Wednesday with the North Chicago Think Tank. If you are in Lake County, Illinois, I need you to tune in on next Wednesday, when we will have Billy Coleman, the founder and visionary of the North Chicago Think Tank. He is giving us some things to think about, some things that we can put in our community, some actions that we can take within our community to make our community better. This is where I, grew up and I was raised. I would love to come back home and see some of these things implemented. So if you would be available, please try to join us next Monday and next Wednesday. As always, again, I thank you for joining us. It's your girl, Coach L. See you next week.